Wronski, the hook. The hook, Cheryl Wronski.
Imagine a moment of triumph after you were feeling sick or sad. What was it that cheered you up or cured your sickness? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and everyone hooked on life. My mother was diagnosed with cancer in 2001. The doctors told my parents she only had a few months to live. My mother, always the feisty one, told the doctors this was not acceptable and to do something. With my father's devotion, she underwent chemotherapy with the usual unpleasant side effects. We visited them often during this period of time. After the first session was over, we received wonderful news. The cancer was in remission. I went back. I expected to find my mother happy. Instead, I find her in tears. Fearing the worst, I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" She said tearfully, "I can't remember how to crochet. I forget a lot of things. I feel stupid." It broke my heart. I put a big smile on my face and gave her a big hug and said, "Mom, you've been crocheting for 30 years. If your mind doesn't remember, your fingers will." My mother made beautiful afghans and other crocheted items. She taught family and neighbors how to crochet. One of those neighbors, Carmen, still speaks about my mother's teachings. Carmen has passed on that legacy to her own kids and to her grandkids. I couldn't help her. I can't crochet. She tried to teach me one time. A hook is about 6 inches long, little hook at the end. You wind the yarn in and out with one hand. Picture Lucy Ricardo trying to learn this. Yeah, the yarn is just everywhere except going in and out of the hook. I suggested a book of instructions or perhaps going to a class. This episode scared me though, because my mother's defeat was far more frightening than the cancer. After a couple of weeks, I went back, and oh my goodness, she had the afghan started. It was already 7 feet wide and had 2 rows done. I was thrilled. I said, "Mom, this is great." She said, and she was so upset, "I still have to have your father help me a lot." My dad sat patiently for hours, reading instructions and helping her loop by loop. As the afghan grew, I could tell her mind was coming back, and she was perkier. And then the floodgates opened on her memory, and she had 3 feet done. It was beautiful, every color of the rainbow. She was using remnants from the last 30 years. It was a miracle. And that small hook had brought her mind back and her physical functionality. After 3 months, it was done. It was 6 feet by 7 feet. Every color of the world was in it. She used it as a bedspread in her room. I told her someday, "Mom, I'd like to learn to crochet." We went back that summer, and a miracle had happened. Mom and Dad looked great. They were laughing and having life come to them again. A simple hook, crochet hook, had brought my mother's mind back and her physical functionality. much for us. Sadly, my mother died in 2008. The doctors called my parents a phenomenon because her dedication and determination and his devotion gave her to us for 7 more years. My father donated the hook and the yarn and all of her crafts to the local Veterans Hospital. My mother's legacy and talent is helping our wounded heroes regain their health and their lives. After it was over, my dad asked me what Afghan I wanted. I'm sure he thought I wanted a perfect one. But I said, Dad, I want the Afghan of triumph. He said, the what? I said, the Afghan of triumph. The symbol of your dedication and love and devotion for over 60 years that overcame monumental adversity. It's in my guest room, and all of you are invited to see it. My friends, it's not the expensive treatment, and it's not the grand gesture that helps us. It is truly the small acts, like gathering for a contest or crocheting. I implore each of you today, you and you and you, to find your hook of health and happiness. Find lots of hooks to improve your life and the lives of others. Madam Toastmaster.